Hi, this is Bridget Rodriguez, West Coast Regional Manager for Absolute High TN Injection Molding Machines and ARI Robots. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the basics of owning an injection molding machine. Today we'll be covering the aftermarket support. If you missed the previous videos, you can find those on our YouTube channel, and I would encourage you to check those out. Before we get into aftermarket support, I just want to do a quick recap of last week, which was upfront and long-term costs of buying an injection molding machine. So first, you want to make sure that you buy a good quality, reliable machine at a good value. And just for example, high TN is in the top of 4 tiers for resale value. And we also have an 85% customer retention rate, which basically means that once a customer buys from us, they stay with us because they're happy. So you want to get a good machine, and then you want to understand how well you're going to be supported after you make the purchase. You don't want to make aftermarket support an afterthought. You want to have a good understanding of how you're going to be supported when it comes to parts, service, and training. And the reason is because aftermarket support can significantly increase or decrease your downtime. We're going to take a look at downtime, and we're also going to talk a little bit about lean thinking or continuous improvement, and what those have, like what the connection is between those things. So in looking at your downtime, I would really encourage you to put a number on it. Peter Drucker says you can't improve what you don't measure. So what does your downtime look like on machine number one? How many hours per week or minutes per week or how many days per year are you down? How much money are you spending on that machine? Are you spending $1,000 per week to keep it running, $1,000 a month, $1,000 a year? Do you have any idea how much you're spending per machine to keep them up and running and maintained? In looking at lean and continuous improvement as it relates to aftermarket, we're going to talk a little bit about inventory and specifically high inventory levels for spare parts. Typically, if you have high inventory for your spare parts, it's often covering bigger problems that can't be seen. And once you start reducing your inventory, these problems start being exposed. And what you want to do is you want to identify what some of these issues are and reduce or eliminate them. And as you reduce or eliminate these problems, you can bring your inventory levels down for spare parts. Now, why is inventory such a big deal? Why not keep a bunch of parts on the shelf? Well, basically you're tying up a lot of company cash, and that cash could be used for investing in new equipment or investing in your employees or other things to build the business. But since that cash is tied up in inventory, you don't have it available to spend. So we're going to take a few minutes just to go through what some of these wastes look like that the inventory is covering up. It could be covering up machine breakdowns. If the machine is breaking down all the time, you're going to have waste, and you're going to have high inventory to compensate for that. So you want to make sure you have a reliable machine that doesn't break down all the time. Another waste is waiting. Are the parts proprietary, on back order, obsolete, difficult to get? If you're waiting for parts, this is going to be a problem, and you will likely need to increase your inventory in order to compensate for that. Waste in money is another waste. Proprietary parts can cost 3 to 4 times the price as a standard international component that you can get off the shelf. Another waste is a skills gap. Do you lose efficiency on one shift versus the other shift because one technician knows the controllers or processing a little bit better, and you haven't been able to train all of the employees to get them up to the same level? That's another example of waste. And then over-processing. I'm sure this never happens at your company, but could it happen that one processor on first shift will set the process a certain way and get it to where they like it, and then second shift comes in and the technician kind of has his own way and likes his way a little bit better, takes the time to dial in a new process. And then when third shift comes in, they also have their own process that they like just a little bit better. All of that time that it takes to establish a new process between the shifts is wasting production efficiency. And so getting all of your employees on the same page and trained the same and standardizing those things will help eliminate waste in your process. And defects is another area of waste. Are you running excessive scrap because it's difficult to process on the machine and it takes a while to get the process dialed in? And overproduction is another waste. And a good example of that is if you have a machine that you know continually breaks down over and over, you have this fear that you're going to miss customer orders because of it. And so what you do is you build up a lot of extra inventory and put it on the shelves of your extra inventory of your finished goods, and you have that waiting just in case the machine breaks down. This is a waste in your process and another thing that ties up cash for your business. So the inventory and lean thinking, continuous improvement is really important to think about when you're considering your aftermarket support and buying an injection molding machine. Now we're going to take a look at parts. Are the parts proprietary? Are they easy to get? Difficult to get? Are they overseas? Are they stored in-house? I know that Haitian, we store $5 million worth of parts here in the US, but like I mentioned, we also have a lot of standardized parts that you can get anywhere. Are the parts prone to long lead times? Are they highly specialized? If they are, there's a good chance that they're going to go obsolete, which could get you into trouble. And then tying up company cash with excessive inventory, like we just talked about in the waste example. Then we want to take a look at service. How well are you going to be supported with service? What are the response times? Are the engineers capable? Are they available? Are they able to troubleshoot online or over the phone? And if not, if they need to come in, can they get there quickly? Those are things that you want to think about. Is there 24-hour service available? Another thing is a lot of companies are having trouble finding maintenance personnel right now. And so one service that we offer is being able to come in monthly or biannually or annually to perform the PMs on the machines as a service. So that's something that we offer, and a lot of people really like that because they're having a hard time trying to find maintenance personnel. And then another thing you want to know ahead of time is, are you able to call the service department? Do you have to sign up for and pay for service just in order to make a phone call? Do you need to pay an annual fee in order to do that? And also, do you need to issue a PO every time that you need to pick up the phone and call the service department? Those are things that you typically don't think about when you're making the purchase, but after the purchase, they become very important. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about training. What's included in the startup training? Are they going to train all of your employees? What about the employees on different shifts? What if you have an employee that was on vacation? Is the vendor going to work with you to make sure that your employees are all trained and they understand how to operate the machine? And then what's available for ongoing training? Is there a tech center that you can send your employees to? Will your vendor come on site and do training for you? What kind of topics are included? Are they going to cover the controllers? Are they going to cover processing and decoupled molding? Are they going to do training on maintaining the machine and doing the PMs? Those are all things that you want to know. You want to have an understanding of what's available to train your employees, because it's very important to invest in your employees. And then, are there other means of training your employees internally via online or simulation software or screens? that you can do to do personal training with your employees. So just to recap, you want to have a good understanding of how much downtime your machines are costing you, and also you want to make sure that you purchase a reliable machine in the first place. But you want to have a good understanding of the waste that's generated from machine breakdowns or spare parts inventory or those types of things. And you want to understand how well you're going to be supported with parts, service, and training. So for parts, you want to make sure that they're easy to get and you can get them at a reasonable price. With service, you want to make sure that the engineers are knowledgeable and that they're available to get to you when you need them. And with training, equipping your employees is the very best investment you'll ever make. I saw a post recently that said, first we build people, then we build our product. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. So you want to select a vendor that will make that easy for you. So thanks again for joining me on this episode of Buying an Injection Molding Machine. If you missed the previous videos, you can find those on our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or send us an email. Thanks again. Have a great day.